Hey guys, sorry about the angle. I'm doing something different here. This is like the fourth time I record this. I tend to go on too long. I don't want to do that with this. I just want it just short. Um, People ask me all the time, why do I build in water? Do you like water bases? The answer is no, I don't like water bases. I like doing prefab parts differently. Water is the best place to show them. The problem with No Man's Sky is if you're building out of water, you can use basic parts and you can get away with a lot of stuff that is not watertight or airtight. And when I build with prefabs, because I like building with prefabs for part count, um, it it really because what do I mean by part count? Well, I built I built on PS4. The render on PS4 was horrible, but I like to build big bases. This is a 64 ring size base here. It's what 100. What are we to the center here? A 60 units. So we're like 112 units across, give or take, right? Because the ring's about the center, so 112 units across. To build a base this big with basic, it requires a lot of parts, especially to be enclosed. Prefabs, it's 64 parts, and that goes all the way around. One ring is 64 parts all the way around, once you get rid of the framework. This is 128, but still, it's 100. It's 112 units, right? Um, that's why I build prefab. I like building big and stuff. But in order to do that, I didn't want to just click parts together because that's boring. Um, so I learned to do things differently. The ring is one of the things I do differently. And the reason I like the ring is because it allows me to keep the size of the base without having to backtrack. Unfortunately, people visiting the base backtrack anyway, get lost, whatever, whatever. So I'm trying to work around it. Anyway, um, what I have here are cuboids laying on their side. Um, I tried this with in a straight line, and I noticed that there would be only one wall, and I realized putting them in a ring would eliminate that one wall. Well, I mean, or the floor, sorry, and that's what you see here. This is a cuboid on its side, and you have a floor, but because they open up, you have no floor. So literally, when you're in this base, there is no floor. Now, the reason I'm not going to build this base underwater. The reason I build underwater is to test that, because that opening doesn't look much different than it would if you went to one of my other bases with rings, but it has a very different effect when it's vertical versus horizontal. Yes, I'm going horizontally, but again, the wire's here, so we're actually going vertical. How the parts are laid out, they're just laid out horizontally. So I don't recommend doing this structure underwater, unfortunately. So I would build this in a sky base. And mostly for the views as well, because the views would be more spectacular with nothing to block your view when you're looking up in the sky. Now, I don't build sky bases very much. I have built a couple of them in my time, but they're not something I really strive for. Now, by the way, when I originally tried to do this section here, the reason that there is a floor there is originally I was going to try to do two of them on top, thinking that the floor would be on both sides. Well, the floor doesn't actually do that. This is what you get. That's a cuboid, double cuboid, and you can see the two wires. There is no floor. What good would that be? Because you can't really walk through it because the doors would be solid. What you do that is use it as a chamber for like an art piece or something, right? That's what that's for. So yeah, that's the idea. Now, if for folks wondering how do I get a 64, well, the 64 base, 64 ring, cuboids are three-quarters of three-quarters of full floors, right? That's what a floor is. So a cuboid to a full floor is three-quarters. So in order to do a ring, from the center, you need 10 cuboids to get it. Now, to save parts, save time, what I do is I use the large portion and I build a ring or a circle. Drew Cipher has done the circle, watch his channel. Ask anybody, any glitch builder, how to do that. Go out 6 to here. That's 6, and that's where you're stopping. The next thing you do is you go, because that's there, then you go, come on, stick on the end. Come on. That would be 9, and then if you look at 10, see the wire in the center? That's where my wire point is. Then you flatten the wire out, however you want to do that, and position. Now you can use, if I use the center wire here, what would happen? What happened is I would get opening cuboids. So these cuboids are open. You can't tell because there's wires in there, but they're open to each other um, because it's perfect. They're open perfect here, but I had to move the center from here to the edge, and I do that using the wire glitch to cube to that. That's why it's down a little bit because the center point is moved. So yeah, I just lifted it up to see what it looks like. Again, there's water leak from in, hence the reason why I wouldn't use it for an underwater build, but a sky build would be fantastic. Yeah, so that's the idea. That's how you build a perfect ring. Very, very simple. In my view, it wasn't simple. It took KO Labs and I a couple of hours to figure it out. KO Labs is a master of mathematics, figured it all out for us. Anyway, yeah, this is just a bunch of cuboids on their sides just to see what's going on. If anybody's ever interested, I would do a video on how to use cuboids, but uh, how to use cuboids differently than normal. But yeah, so that's the water. That's it. That's my base idea. It's probably never ever gonna see the light of day underwater. I just used water like I did with every base build to make sure that the prefabs work. I like the water because it gives us restrictions. You can't just fly to the base. You have to do things. That's why a lot of my bases in the current ones have underwater landing where you don't get wet. It's a Loki thing, right? That's what I do. Um, Nobody else really seems to care enough to do that or understand the game enough to do that. For some reason, I do, and I've done it, and that's why I do it because for some reason I'm the only one who wants to do that. It's very, very simple. I can show people how to do it, but nobody's ever asked, so I don't worry about it. I thought rings were looked cool when I originally did them. Other people, oh my God, it's a ring, but very few people actually asked to figure it out. I know one gentleman did. Has a very creative base builder. Figured it out on his own in a really amazing way. He figured it out with freighter parts, which is something that took us a bit longer to figure out. And because the freighter parts are not there, there's a size difference. But yeah, it's just something that I use water to test the parameters of the cuboids, not to make sure that what I'm building is actually watertight. This isn't, so I wouldn't do it. But I have this base here, probably keep it up just to, have the 128 parts sitting around. Uh, Remember how I do it in case somebody ever asks. Yeah, so that's how that goes. All right, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, I can leave them in a comment. And is there something question in the comment? I get notifications for the comments. I know they're not busy. I'm not a YouTuber. I just share my ideas with people online. I'm not trying to build a base or build a community because I I went from playing 1,200 hours in No Man's Sky to, well, last year in 2023 I did 300 hours. Um, they've done things in my view that have not warranted my commitment to their game. Um, Even their new game, I got frustrated with them so badly. I got frustrated with. So, yeah, we'll see. But